I was the first tourist my guide ever took to where we went on day 5 of exploring Afghanistan. Smoothie secured for what would be a 9-hour drive south from Kabul, we were headed to an infamous place. On the way, we saw more blown out Soviet tanks piled up on the side of the road, placed up on a pedestal almost like trophies. After a couple of hours driving through flat terrain, it was time to stop off at a local restaurant for some food. Our standard meal of kebab and bread, but this time I decided to sample the main Afghan beverage company's cola. Tasted the same as Coke back home. After lunch was where things got interesting. For the first time of the trip, I began to see former American military bases now completely taken over by the Taliban. Not just one or two, but what wound up being dozens of installations. Some small, some immense. Of course, we weren't going to be given a tour of occupied military bases, but we did wind up coming up on what must have been a small checkpoint that was abandoned. Nothing more than the dirt-filled barriers were left. Words can't describe how eerie it was to be an American citizen walking through the remains of a U.S. military outpost in Afghanistan, to think how far across the world my countrymen went to ultimately accomplish nothing in a place they never should have been. Back on the road for several more hours on the way to our final destination, stopping for tea and smoothies along the way, we also got to see a couple of locally made ice cream variations, absolutely clutch in the brutal heat of the South in the early summer. Finally, after a full day's worth of travel, we arrived to the most conservative part of the country, the place where the Taliban was founded in the 1990s, the notorious Kandahar. Bags dropped off at the overpriced hotel, we linked up with some local connects and headed off to share a massive mixed grilled dinner before turning in. Day 5 complete, Manana.